Hi, this is Lisa Kelly, Notre Dame author and class of 1993, and you are watching the Two Irish Brothers show. Cheers and go Irish!
How's it going, everyone? I am ND Sean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
And together, the two of us make up this little thing called the Two Irish Brothers Show. Now, you guys know the routine by now. Make sure and hit that subscribe tab in the bottom right-hand corner if you haven't done it already. And you know what? If you haven't created a YouTube account to go hit that subscribe button, go create one right now. Come back and hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure to like or dislike this video because, as you guys know, it helps with the algorithm, which in turn helps us. So first things first, just a reminder for all you guys, we still are working with Irv Smith to promote the trip through Global Executive Tours to Ireland next year for when Notre Dame plays Navy. There it is on your screen right there. And all the stuff that we promote, we will have in the description box below. So check all those links out for more details. Also, the new one that we've helped out from a gentleman by the name of Vincent Rizzuto. If you guys are on the East Coast, especially in the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area, there is a package that he is wanting us to help promote for him, which we gladly will do. It includes the Notre Dame Boston College game for this upcoming season in November, and also you get the NFL matchup that week between the Indianapolis Colts and the Philadelphia Eagles. Hopefully we'll try to have Vince on the show so he can give you guys more details into what is going on with that package. So with that said, Ben, the first part of the most exciting time of the year for us has officially begun.
Yes.
Notre Dame has started practice.
Yep.
All camp is underway, and I'm getting goosebumps. I'm really excited about it. It's starting to become more real for me since this time of year has arrived. How about you?
I am excited beyond words, dude. I cannot wait. When we have the the Hall of Fame game, I think is what it's called for the NFL.
Yeah.
That's when you know the next week is about to be fall camp. So we had the Hall of Fame game between the Raiders and the Jaguars, and then that means that Notre Dame football is literally right around the corner. So,
and I'm glad
about that.
And I'm glad you mentioned the Hall of Fame game because that just reminded me of something that we actually forgot to do a couple weeks ago. But speaking of Hall of Famers and whatnot, and former players and legends and so on and so forth, whatever you want to call them, we want to take this time to give our condolences to the families of John Lynch, former Notre Dame linebacker who passed away a couple weeks ago, and also to the family of former Notre Dame offensive lineman Paul Duncan, who also passed away. Sorry that we forgot to put that in our videos a few weeks ago, but we're doing it now. Better late than never. Two guys from the Notre Dame family that will be greatly missed by all of us in the Notre Dame community. So our condolences out to the families of those two Notre Dame greats. So moving forward with fall practice, let's talk about the number one position battle that is on everybody's mind, the quarterback spot. And we have pretty much have it established now that the two front runners are going to be Tyler Buchner and Drew Pine. Yes. And when it was me and George, Ben, on a time that you weren't here, we had a discussion about that. And, to be fair, Drew Pine, even though I'm confident it's going to be Tyler Buchner, George did make a good case for Drew Pine, and even you've said it yourself that Drew Pine has a good case to be the starting quarterback.
Yes. Yeah, and that's actually one of the hot topics, if you will, right now is Drew Pine, because Drew Pine had a very rough spring game, as most people saw. But days 1 and 2 in fall camp, Drew Pine has looked really, really good and has garnered a lot of media praise. So that opens up the quarterback battle and controversy, and however other way you want to say it, for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish football team that is now Marcus Freeman's, because we're in the official Freeman era. So right off the bat, Freeman has kind of a hard decision to make. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, the thing is, too, I mean, of course, I have the practice report with the notes and the tidbits on the first couple days of practice, and it's hard to really, like with anything, like spring training in baseball or training camp in hockey or basketball, whatever. It's hard to really get a feel on the first couple of days because, practice is just underway. Guys are still, even though they've been working out, there's guys that are still going to have some rust in them, and they're not going to be quite there yet. But so far through these first few days of practice, from what it looks like is, of course, both Buckner and Pine have their strengths, and they've unfortunately showed a few weaknesses too. But that's to be expected. You're not going to be perfect the first few days of practice. But from what I'm seeing here on Tyler Buckner, it looks like that he was very good at taking the leadership role. He was very comfortable handling the reps and I'm reading what the article says here. Very comfortable handling the first team reps. He was commanding the offense very well. Speed on the ground was great. His release was very well improved, and so was his accuracy, which I like to hear. It says here that he did have a few misses, including a pass to Michael Mayer down the middle of the field. But again, as it says here, his accuracy appeared to have a very good feel to it. Now with Drew Pine, on the other hand, he also got better. The one thing that from what I'm seeing here in the notes is that he still has to improve his ball placement. And when we saw him play last year, Ben, in the time that he did get, he did show a little bit of that his placement wasn't 100% there in his passes.
Yeah, a little high at times, and all that. But yeah, I mean, and you're right. It's practice. We've just gotten started, and when I say we, the Notre Dame team has just gotten started. And it's time to shake the rust off. I mean, things are going to go slow. And I mean, Freeman even said that in his, pretty much, I guess, introductory press conferences, if you will, for this fall ball. He said it's going to be rough and it's going to be intense. It's going to be hard. So it is what it is. But if we're going to have this quarterback battle, I'm all for it, because you know what? It only makes guys better.
Yes.
It does. It only makes guys better.
Yeah, when that competition.
And I mean, Buckner showing leadership is to be expected. Yes, he's a younger guy in that locker room when it comes to the offense, and I understand that, but at the same time, you are the field general as a quarterback. So you have to be the leader. I mean, that's just that's what comes with the territory. I mean, you're automatically into that leadership role when you're a quarterback stepping into a locker room. I mean, that's just how it rolls. But one thing I want to mention, because of something you said, we do not have like press passes to Notre Dame stuff at all. Just saying.
I wish we did, though.
Yeah.
I wish we did. That's what's up to you guys to help us out and subscribe to us. Yeah. But go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
When Sean said that the article stated, because we are just going off of information that we are reading. Okay, we're not people, or even like our colleague George Bashura, who has a press pass and who gets to see these things up close and personal. So, that's how it rolls around here on this channel. But back to actual fall ball. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see the development of these two quarterbacks and what happens and who's named starter for the Ohio State game. I mean, because we're less than a month away from the Ohio State game now.
Don't they have their quarterback coming back from last year? His name passes me by, but don't they have their starter from coming back from last year?
I do not know that. So,
well, you know what? That's where we have to take a quick second to find out.
But yeah, I mean, and obviously this isn't the preview, so that game,
right.
But
yeah, CJ Stroud. That's right, CJ Stroud.
But yeah, I mean, Freeman has a lot of work to do. I mean, it's a first-time head coach, and it's a brand new system for these guys, and we have a new quarterback that's going to be taking over because now, we are on to the next because Jack Cohen is gone.
Yes.
So now is it Buckner? Is it Pine? Who is it? So we'll see.
And when I was searching for CJ Stroud's name, and I can't believe that I couldn't remember his name for whatever reason, but I'm seeing here that he arrived in a $150,000 Bentley from money that he got in an NIL deal.
There you go.
Hey, can't blame the kid for taking advantage of it. Good for him. But speaking of Ohio State, though, one thing that I like what Marcus Freeman is doing during these practices is having a lot of noise via music and whatnot, because that's going to be key come September 3rd when we enter the Horseshoe to play Ohio State, because that place is loud. And I can't remember, Ben, you lived in Ohio for a while. Did you ever go to a game at the Horseshoe?
I have been to one game.
And it was, I'm guessing it was loud, wasn't it?
And it was loud, and it wasn't even, no offense to that team, but it wasn't even a big name game, and it was still really loud. It was versus Kent. They played against Kent State. I do believe that was the one I went to. Ohio State versus Kent State. And it was very, very loud. So
we're going to have our work cut out for us on September 3rd. But, of course, we'll save all that for when it comes preview and recap time.
And this is the second year. I mean, it could be the third year. I'd have to go back and look. I do know for a fact it's at least the second year in a row that Notre Dame starts on the road in a very hostile environment. I mean, I know Florida State, kind of had their Super Bowl, if you will, against Notre Dame and gave us a heart attack last year. But, I mean, you go into Doak Campbell Stadium like we did last year, that's a hostile environment no matter the record or the year. So it's, another hostile environment we're going into that is the Horseshoe.
Yes.
So it's not easy. It's not easy winning in the Horseshoe. I'm sorry. I mean, very few teams beat Ohio State in Ohio State's house. I mean, it's a uphill battle. So,
but at least unlike a certain bad element in our fan base, you and I both, Ben, have the confidence that this team is capable of getting it done. And we're not going to just write them off because of it's a tough opponent at their place.
They don't automatically get the L.
Exactly.
But, yeah, no, it'll be a hard road to hoe. Let's, as the saying goes.
Yeah, exactly. I hear you on that. But yeah, with the quarterbacks, it's going to be an interesting battle as things go along. But hopefully, it's more than just a battle like we were talking about before. Hopefully, it's also both Pine and Buckner helping each other out to make one another better, so that they can, because you don't want to have one hope that the other fails. I mean, that kind of scenario. But moving on from the quarterbacks real quick. I was checking a little bit on the running backs, and good news with the running back core. Marcus Freeman in his press conference for the start of fall practice, it sounds like Logan Diggs will be back for in time for the opener against Ohio State.
That's good.
However, he is in a red jersey for practice, and he's taking limited reps, which makes perfect sense.
Yes, to keep him healthy, keep him safe.
Yeah, the serious injury that he suffered, you don't, and Marcus Freeman said this perfectly, like a lot of coaches have in this situation with the player, you don't start them from 0 to 100% just like that. You have to let them ease into it with an injury, get their feel again. And but anyway, that's good news for our running back situation, because when Logan Diggs got hurt, I got instantly concerned about our depth, because all you really had left was Chris Tyree and Audric Estime, and then incoming freshman, how do you say his name? Jabron Payne, I mean. So the depth at the running back position is pretty thin. So Logan Diggs coming back is big for us.
Yes, it is. Very big.
And speaking of which, on first couple days of practice, it sounds like Chris Tyree was very explosive. Him and Tyler Buckner had very good camaraderie and very good chemistry with the handoff and running routes and whatnot. And from what it says here, he was just very explosive in the run game, going north and south and east and west.
Yes, well, that's good. That's what you want to see, and that is one of, without giving the preview away, that is one of the keys to this, to potentially beating Ohio State. We have to have explosive plays. It's there. You cannot start slow against a team like Ohio State. I'm sorry, you can't. I mean, if you want to beat someone like them, it is all systems go from the get-go, and you got to keep pace. So I'm hoping that this team takes that next step. Because in the past, Notre Dame is a slow to start team. We've seen it. We know it. Everybody in our fan base can probably agree on one thing. That is, this team's a slow to start team. There are very few games where, boom, we come right out of the gates and we get going immediately. So,
and you're talking about like early games in the season, right? Like opener and the first 2 or 3 games. Okay.
Every now and then, like when we played South Florida and when we played, New Mexico and stuff. It was just, we manhandled them. But yeah, beginning of seasons and stuff, we just very slow starts. So
yeah. And one thing I like too about Marcus Freeman is during this practice and getting things underway, he straight up said, we're not going to play secrets or anything like that. If we know a guy is ready to start, whether it be the quarterback, a running back, wherever, we're going to announce who our starter is. I don't know if you heard that in his press conference or not, but that's what I really like, because I remember one example that I can give that was perfect to what I'm talking about here was in 2007, which we know that was a bad season for us anyway. We ended up going 3-9, but you could just tell at the start of that season that things were a mess from the start. We had 3 guys going for the quarterback spot, which at that time it was Demetrius Jones, Evan Sharpley, and then incoming freshman Jimmy Clausen at that time. And it just, this overall secretive stuff, it was just getting to be ridiculous. And I can understand it, keeping it secret for a certain amount of time, but we didn't find out who the starting quarterback was till the first game, like till that day got here.
Right.
And so it's like, I just like how Marcus Freeman isn't pissing around. He's just like, no, we're not playing any games here. As soon as we have a guy set, we're going to name him. And I like that.
Yeah.
So
I don't think Freeman's going to be a coach that shies away from the spotlight, and I don't think he's a coach that's going to be afraid of anybody.
No.
And that's a good thing. And that's how it should be at Notre Dame. I'm sorry. If you want to be true Notre Dame football, that's how it is. So
yes, I agree. I do too. And the one explosive group that I said the word explosive, and I think they're going to be explosive because this is the one group that I'm really excited about is our wide receivers and tight ends. There's a lot of people that don't think we have the quite enough talent there, which is complete bull crap. I mean, we have looking at the report here, I mean, we Braden Lindsey and Avery Davis, they're going to be the leaders for us. And obviously Avery is coming off of a injury that sidelined him in the Navy game last season. But from what it sounds like here, both of them have looked very good during practice. Says here that Avery Davis has really filled out and looked impressive physically. He's making the quick cuts and exploding off of breaks. And then with Braden Lindsey, he's really starting to get better with his hands, making catches. And it says here he made a very impressive diving catch in the end zone for a touchdown, made a strong catch on a comeback. And he's really doing a great job. It says here, quickly getting out of his cut and beating the defensive backs. So that's stuff that we need out of our veteran receivers. Now, speaking of the vet group, Joe Wilkins, he is the only one that won't be ready for Ohio State. He's still sidelined with an injury. But going to the young guys here, and I said this a few times already, I think Lorenzo Styles is going to be the one that really explodes this year. And then I think we're going to see quite a bit of Jaden Thomas get going. And the only really, and Tobias Merriweather, I'm not sure what's going to happen with him because he is a freshman. He's learning the offense. And so, young guys like that, it's going to take some time, but it sounds like he's really impressed in practice as well. And the only real negative is, from what I'm reading here, is Deion Colsey. It says that he hasn't really played with a lot of assertiveness and energy. So that's something that has got to change because, he was highly touted coming out of high school, and I was looking forward to seeing him. And I hope he rebounds and finds that explosiveness that a wide receiver needs to have. And of course, Michael Mayer. What more do I need to say? Big physical tight end. He's going to shine this season.
Yeah.
He's really going to shine. Do I really need to say any more, honestly?
No. I think there's only, in my opinion, one other guy in college football that is maybe better than Michael Mayer. Maybe better. And
you want to give that name?
Georgia's tight end, and I am blanking on his name. What is his name? But that dude is a baller, and those two dudes are neck and neck for just how good both of them that they are. I mean, it's just you just got to be in awe of the talent, So
yeah,
let me look this up.
And while you're looking it up,
you mentioned a name that I hope. You said Colsey, you hope has the rebound. Who I hope has a rebound is Lindsey. I mean,
yes.
We had this 2 years ago before COVID. We saw a Lindsey that was a force. And the last 2 years, we just haven't seen what we should be seeing. The explosiveness, the just burning guys left, right, and center. We just haven't seen it, and I hope that this kid in Lindsey can rebound with Freeman, because you talk about someone that is, in my opinion, a letdown. It's Lindsey.
Yeah, well, and hopefully, receivers coach Chauncey Stuckey. I mean, it seems like, from what I'm hearing, all these guys have a lot of praise for him. I know Marcus Freeman had a lot of praise for him. That's, of course, he did if he brought him in. But I remember everybody was crapping on him, and it's like, hey, if the players are gravitating towards him, if Marcus Freeman liked him, give the dude a chance. And But with Lindsey, you and I saw it firsthand ourselves, Ben, at the Purdue game when we went to last year. Right in front of us, Braden had a catch that was perfectly thrown to him, right through his hands, or off his hands, one of the two. But it was a pass that should have been caught, and that's one of those definite big time letdown moments.
Yes. Yep. And the tight end's name is Brock Bowers. I cannot believe I blanked on his name.
It happens. I blank plenty of times, but everybody knows that.
Let me just say, last year, 13 touchdowns. Let's just leave it at that. So that, him and Mayer, in my opinion, are the two best in the country. Anyway, yeah, so we'll see what happens. And, the offense is, to me, the focus of getting better. We've seen what the defense can do, and we've seen a good defense the last few years. But the offense has to be better. It has to be more. It has to be able to score at will. And we just haven't seen that. We've seen a good running game, but we haven't seen that elite receiving core that you see at the Alabamas, the Clemsons, even heck the Ohio States, of the world.
Well, and also I'll tell you one thing. What the key to making that happen is it starts up front. It starts up front with that offensive line. That offensive line has got to be consistent. There can't be any shuffling around this year like we saw the first half of last season. Now, the second half, they finally got it together. They finally found the right combination, and we had a lot of success from then on out. Like ever since that Cincinnati game, we had no problems. And so far during practice, it sounds like they were still kind of doing that a little bit with the offensive line. There still wasn't a lot of explosiveness, but the good news is we got Harry Hiestand back to coach him. He had a lot of success with our line when he was here before at Notre Dame. And a key move to look out for is Jarrett Patterson has been moved from center to, I think it was left guard. So that means that was it Matt Carroll or Mike Carroll? He's looking to be the starting center, but other guys look out for Josh Lugg, Joe Alt, who had a very impressive season last year. Blake Fisher, these guys have got to step up and really open up the holes for the running backs, and they've got to find that camaraderie that an offensive line needs to have, because we can't have these issues like we saw last year.
No,
and of course, I think, did I mention Blake Fisher?
No, you did not.
Okay, Blake Fisher, he's a part of that as well. So these guys, a couple of them have been named to some preseason award lists, so you got to live up to it.
Yeah.
But I think we have that offensive line set. We're going to be a force to reckon with. And I know a lot of people are hearing me say that and be like, "Oh, you freaking homer, Sean. You and Ben are both just a couple of homers." Well, I guess technically, yeah, we are. We are fans. We are going to love our team. But we also go by with what we see as well. And like I said a million times already, it showed last year when we got the offensive line in place after all that shuffling. They were great. They really were.
Yep.
So yeah, we've got to put that together. And of course, it's still early in practice. Plenty of time to work that out. So with that said, getting to the defensive side of things, the one group that's really standing out to me, and of course we got our front seven, which is great, but our defensive backfield, man, I think they're going to be a very underrated group, and they're going to shine. Because there was a big question mark to guys like Tariq Bracy and Cam Hart, who knew what those guys were going to do. And then now you have what's really going to help too is safety Brandon Joseph transferring in from Northwestern. He's been announced to a couple of, I think, one or two preseason award lists. So I think that backfield is going to be a lot better than what people are giving it credit for. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you lose, without doubt, one of the best players in the country in Kyle Hamilton to the draft, and you go, okay, well, what's going to happen with this defensive backfield? And yeah, I think that they're showing that even without Hamilton there, they can be an elite core. So once again, only time will tell. The good thing though is Freeman is a defensive mind, so that he will have at least one of his fingers in that pie, and I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait because the defense really took some nice strides last year with Freeman coming in. So,
Oh, absolutely. And I'm trying to find what the early depth chart is looking like right now. Because I'm thinking that there's somebody who I missed that I shouldn't have missed. And I'm talking specifically in the defensive backfield here. Clarence Lewis. How in the hell did I forget about him? Oh, that's who I was trying to think of. I'm like, I knew there was somebody that I was missing, but who was that? Oh boy. But no, you also have other guys back there that I saw. I think really can step up big is DJ Brown at the safety spot. Ramon Henderson, he's one that's ready to break out and shine. And then I completely forgot about Houston Griffith because for some reason I was thinking that he was done after this year. But of course, with the defense, let's go to the front seven. Obviously, hands down, Isaiah Foskey is a star of that defense. I think.
Yes, obviously.
Not only on the defensive line, but also in the on the big screen as well, because you saw the
yes
the Hangover
the little shout out they gave the Hangover
the spoof for the Shamrock Series jersey
in there with Freeman.
Yeah. Next week doesn't work because the Jonas Brothers are in town.
Yeah.
Really, Mayor? Really, Mike? Come on now. But what you call it? What I think is really going to help with that defensive line too is both the Adamiola brothers. So that's going to help create instant chemistry with that group.
Yeah. Yep.
So so also you have someone else who could step up, like you could have Howard Cross, Jacob Lacey, that he could be one that'll definitely make some noise. Now going to the linebacker and the rover spots, I don't know how you feel about this, but I think losing Shane Simon to transferring to Pittsburgh, I'm not saying that'll hurt us, but would you consider that a blow?
Yeah, I mean, you lose a guy that has been around, and you lose a guy you lose a guy to Pittsburgh. I mean, it's like, come on, man, like, of all places. So, yeah, I do think it's a little bit of a blow for sure.
The good news is though, is you have guys like Jack Kaiser and Bo Bauer, JD Bertrand. I mean, these are veteran linebackers that really have the experience. They know the playbook. And then, of course, you got the talented, the one guy who I'm looking to see break out is Prince Colley. I really hope this year that he gets his chance to shine. And, Maris Liufau, however some of these Hawaiian dudes, it's hard for me to say their names. I'm sorry. I don't mean that in a negative way. It's really hard for me to pronounce, but it looks like we do have a lot of guys back there that, even with the departure of Shane Simon transferring to Pitt, I think we still should be okay back there.
Oh yeah.
And now the question mark is incoming freshman Jalen Sneed. What are they going to do with him?
Well, I mean, it's what fall camp's for, man. You get some guys that they're like, he's a freshman. We'll probably see him next year. And then all of a sudden, and I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not like holding a crystal ball here and all that, but it happens. I mean, you see a guy that just shows up and shows out and gets the nod. And I don't think Freeman will be afraid to start a freshman. That's something that everybody whines about in our fan base, and I whine about it sometimes too. So I'm not taking shots, but it's like, just start the guy. If he's the dude, start him. Like, I don't care if he has freshman next to his name. Like, Let him be out there. I don't think Freeman would be afraid to start a freshman. I really don't. Whether that be a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a linebacker, you name it. I don't think he'll be afraid to do that if he thinks that guy's the best at that position. So it could happen.
And that's what I'm thinking too. Is if the guy's ready, then play him. Get him on that field somehow. Maybe doesn't even necessarily have to start, but get him in there to get some reps. Not just in a scenario where like you're already winning by 40, the game's in hand. Like get him some actual reps.
Yeah.
Some competitive.
Well, and that's
reps.
another thing. You just hit the nail on the head, Sean. That's something else that I think. I don't think he'll be afraid to start or put guys in when we're up, because we didn't see our former coach do that. We're up and we still got guys in, and it's like, why aren't we giving these guys reps? I mean, all these new rules and stuff where you can start X amount of games and still be considered a red shirt. Why aren't you taking advantage of that?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're up by 30, put the guy in. Not only are you, keeping another guy that is the proven guy safe, you're having another guy get experience.
Exactly.
I don't understand that. I didn't understand that the last couple of years with the team. So
yeah, it's like if these guys are ready, get them on the field, and preferably when it's not in closing time.
Right.
Like I just said. So I think that covers pretty much everybody, like every position group that we can think of. I mean, special teams, that's pretty much self-explanatory, but I guess the big thing there is we have a kicker that transferred in from I think it was Arkansas State. I forget his name.
Yes.
Groupie.
Yeah,
right? Groupie, something like that. What can I say? He kicks. Just get better, buddy. That's all I can say on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much everyone for now. It sounds like things are going pretty well. Coach Freeman is ratcheting things up for practice, getting us ready for that opener against Ohio State, and I like what he's doing so far. And couple weeks into this, we should get a better idea of where everybody's at. And myself personally, I'm feeling good about where we are right now, because I like the camaraderie that overall that this team is showing.
Yes. Yep.
So, but anyway, aside from practice getting underway, a couple of other big news. Coach Freeman and his staff, think he continued to have success on the recruiting trail. The first one I'd like to talk about briefly is they got a commitment from the 2024 class by offensive lineman Peter Jones. Now, of course, as we all know, don't get overly excited until he signs on the dotted line, and of course, that's still a couple years down the road yet. But getting a top offensive line recruit, that's always big for us, because we were talking about earlier a few minutes ago. This is an offensive line that needs to come together.
Yes.
But basically what I'm saying is I don't know enough about this kid yet.
4 stars. I mean, you can never complain about a 4-star.
No.
I mean, that's huge, and it goes to show that if you put in the work and you're a strong leader, that you can land these guys. And so far, this Freeman staff is landing guys that I don't think typically would land in past years.
Yeah.
Just saying. So it's exciting.
Well, and the other commit that we just got, which was on Thursday, linebacker Jaden Osbury out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Now, what I like this for 2 reasons. One, it sounds like he's a very explosive linebacker out of the 2023 class.
Mm-hmm.
And also the fact that we took him away from Brian Kelly and LSU.
Yes. Plucked him right out of the backyard.
Yep, right off the bayou. Or bayou, however. I think it's bio, right?
Kind of like we did with CJ Carr in Michigan. So
yeah. And also, I could be wrong, but this Jaden Asbury isn't I think he has somebody that works in the LSU athletic department, if I'm not mistaken.
Dude, if that's true, that's insane, my man. That's crazy.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he has a relative or somebody that's in the sports department or in the athletic department or the university department.
That would be crazy. But you know what? I mean, we have seen guys go other places. I mean, it happens more often than not, but it's just not super talked about. So
yeah, that's true.
And I'm not trying to say, this or this. I love that we just, took him from Kelly, but it happens. It totally happens.
So. Well, and also another thing too, another example like that is when Jimmy Clausen came to us in 2007. I mean, both his brothers, Rick and what was the other one? Rick Clausen. I think he had two brothers, but anyway, his family was basically Tennessee.
Yeah.
Rick Clausen was one, and I forget what his other brother's name was.
Yep.
But yeah, so it does happen. It does happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that said, Ben, I myself don't have anything else to really talk about. Do you?
I got nothing. We need a little bit more camp for us to really start rolling.
Yeah, it's really tough to tell right now because you have to give them some more time to see who all is going to break out, who all is going to emerge as the top dogs. Which, I mean, there's not a lot of position battles, but you know who the regulars are, the ones that already have their spots locked down. But yeah, you need to see who's going to be those other guys that can heavily contribute.
Yep.
So yeah, with that said, one last thing I do want to mention is I want to give a special shout out and thank you to the user on here, Matthew Mayhem. He is a Georgia fan. He had me on his channel yesterday for a live show. Ben, unfortunately, here couldn't make it because he wasn't feeling too well. But just want to give a shout out to Matt and say thank you for the good show, and it was a good time. And we'll definitely be in touch for sure. So thank you, and good luck to you and your channel, my friend. So with that said, I am ND Sean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
And as we always say, God bless, good night, and go Irish.
Go Irish.